Thanks for calling the Speaking of Music show hotline. Leave your comments, your answers to our show questions after the beat. Thanks again.
Hi guys, this is Lee Boyle from Third Class. I'm calling into the Speaking of Music show to answer a question they posted on their Facebook wall. Their question was, what did you take away from the Kurt Cobain rock doc montage of Heck, and what is your favorite rock doc? My answer is the following. The thing I got out of that documentary is how young Kurt, really was at heart. My favorite rock doc is The Devil and Daniel Johnston. Also, Who Then Now? It features a band which I really don't like at all, Korn, but the essence of a young band coming up is perfectly captured in it. Also, Endless Harmony, a Beach Boys documentary, takes a very candid look at that group. Thanks for your question. Speaking of music, I look forward to hearing more cool episodes from you.
Hey, this is Jeremy from Pearl and the Beard, and speaking of music, you're listening to it.
I wanted to go back to the montage of Heck and maybe touch on some of there were some notebook pages that were included in some of those photo montages, and on one of the pages was a list of songs that Buzz Osborne had suggested for Kurt to listen to, and they were punk songs. And not only am I going to use some of these songs to compile a sweet playlist, or what us old folks used to call a mix tape or mix CD, but I'm going to read them to you today so that if you're interested, you can go make your own. But some of the songs on there were Raw Powder by the Stooges, Land Shark. I think actually I might have that opposite. I think the band was Land Shark and the song was Fang. Rick, are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
We'll revisit that. Damaged by Black Flag, Is This Real by the Wipers, and GI by the Germs. But I enjoyed that little piece of information, because anytime I see somebody laying out the quintessential playlist of any type of genre era, like, I'm all about that. I need to have that and put that into my factory, my brain factory. So I think, to sum up, like, our thoughts on Montage of Heck, I wasn't bored. I liked it. I'm glad I watched it, but I will say at about the 2-hour mark, I was losing interest to watch it all the way to the end. Like, I almost felt like I had enough, And I guess we could probably talk about their choice to only show in text Kurt Cobain on such and such day took his own life. What being that it was co-produced by Courtney Love and Francis Bean, why do you think they chose to not give his suicide any light?
Well, I mean, it's gotten its fair share of light, I do believe. I mean, it's kind of the obvious. It's the obvious end. Now that I think about it, that's a really good point. If I were making the documentary, I don't know how I would exactly approach it either, but it did seem a little anticlimactic in a kind of morbid way.
Yeah.
It leaves a little weird taste in your mouth, because it was the unfortunate inevitable end, and I don't really know if what their approach was just more or less who he was and how he operated, and less of the historical, because, I mean, let's face it, Kurt Cobain's suicide was not the end of Kurt Cobain.
No.
It was in many ways the beginning of Kurt Cobain.
I often wondered
still
if that was
talking about Kurt Cobain.
I often wondered if that was part of his plan. He knew killing himself at such a young age, at the peak of his career, would launch him into, eternal Godville, if that's a word I can make up.
There's an obsession with that kind of rock and roll martyrdom. I mean, Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin.
The 27 Club.
Yeah, Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones, and just onward and upward. And, as of very recently, there's also a documentary on Amy Winehouse.
Yeah,
Who was, the recent one to fall victim. And Pitchfork offered a great article about our obsession with the rock star martyrdom. And you have to think also in the mid 90s, a couple years later, you had Tupac Shakur, who was being very, very prophetic about his death and how he was going to go in his obsessions with Machiavelli. And, if you look at his lifestyle and how some of the things he publicly said, was it really a surprise how he went out?
I don't think Tupac's actually dead.
See? But, yeah.
Elvis is probably dead now just because of old age. Maybe he didn't die when they said he died. I don't know. But we all know how the Kurt Cobain story kind of ends, so you don't really need to spend any time with, like the Titanic.
It's another can of worms.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it's a particularly important can of worms. And, I think by sort of just, having it in text like that, like, it doesn't, I don't think anyone should really glorify suicide or really even acknowledge it, because, it's an easy way out.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't think it's the right way out, like it's a permanent solution to what is usually a very temporary problem.
It just seemed like, when you look at the lyrics to All Apologies and other songs, that he had a long-term master plan.
Yes.
There's also the idea of, mental illness that creeps up into a lot of this. And, I myself, as someone who's experienced and is sort of an advocate for different forms of mental illness, unfortunately, going back to that whole obsession with the rock star martyrdom, and then, people, and as Lucas said, and as even Buzz Osborne of the Melvins came out in criticism of Montage of Heck, and mainly about his biggest beef was the dude killed himself. He never, he gave up. He didn't try to turn things around. He didn't try, he made no attempt. But is there, there's also the idea, is there more to that? Are people just obsessing and focusing on, how all the cool things he did, but what's really going on in there? And Montage of Heck, the one thing that I expected from it and that I got from it, and they kind of brought it in a more charming light, was how eccentric he was, how creative he was. It really pointed out, they did point to how disturbed he was on several occasions, but all of that really just paints the picture that here's a guy who is just not complete. I don't think he ever really was, and you mentioned a master plan, perhaps, because he never was complete. Nothing, no amount of stardom, no amount of accolades could complete him. And, is that an issue that as a society we should be focusing on more than, what they are focusing on?
Right. Also, does say aspirating on your own vomit carry more weight, or dying in a plane crash carry more weight than shooting yourself? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe some of those folks who choked on their own puke and died in their sleep, did they intend to do that? Who knows? Probably not. But, that guy, he killed himself.
A couple other plugs, endorsements. We stumbled on another show similar to Speaking Music called Dad Rock. You can find them at Twitter, Dad Rock Show. They're on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. But the most recent episode, they talked about the Firefly Music Fest in Delaware and Coachella, and basically just went over the big major festivals and talk about, what to expect, what you need. And I found it really interesting, great production. All right, wrapping it up. On next week's episode, we're going to talk about, well, who knows what we're going to talk about. We may talk about more 90s albums. We might listen to some more comments from our listeners. If you're a fan of the Facebook page or just watch the YouTube channel, record your comments. You might have something to say. You might not like some of our opinions, or you might want to high-five us. So record it on your smartphone device, or if you have some gear at home, Keep it short, 3 to 5 minutes. Email to speakingofmusic2015@gmail.com. We'll listen to it. If it's cool, if it's appropriate, we'll wedge it in. I wanted to touch back on that list of punk bands. The artist was Fang, and the song was Land Shark. So check that out if you want to make yourself the quintessential punk rock playlist.
And if you don't like my opinions from this particular show, feel free to give me the finger. In fact, if you do like my opinions on this show, feel free to give me the finger. Take a picture of it, you send it to the Facebook page. Just, make sure that it's intended for me and not Rick or Jimmy.
Or give you the thumb.
Or the thumb, if you like that. I prefer the finger.
I think it's impossible to give the thumb anymore unless without someone interpreting it as ironic.
You might be right. There are some people I know who give like a legitimate, heartfelt thumbs up on a thing, but most of the time, yeah, it's a smart-ass remark in thumb form.
One of my more obscure ambitions before I die is I want to be that guy or that gal that can give the thumbs up and mean it sincerely.
Yeah, I like that.
Or the person that can make the seafood diet joke and totally be behind it and not reciting it ironically.
Yeah, I like that. You should go for that.
So I think we covered everything. I hope to see some likes, some submissions, some subscribers. And we'll pick this back up next time on Speaking of Music. Thank you, Josh, for recording us here at Mind Rocket Studio. You guys all rock. Have a good one.
The Speaking of Music show is sponsored by Nursery Podcast and Still Stand